Super Regionals are finally coming back to Clemson University after a long hiatus, first time since 2010.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. My name is John Bivens. I'm your host. You can find us over on Twitter right here at I am John Bivens. We are a credentialed media member for the Clemson University for baseball, basketball, football. Thanks for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and over on YouTube. And we are part of the amazing Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Here on the Locked On Podcast, you're getting three things. You're getting all sports, all passion, all of the time. And we can't wait. We are so glad that you are here. And we are bringing you everything you need to know regarding Clemson sports. Today is June 4th. On this fine Tuesday, we are going to talk about Clemson Regional Recap, some player performances from this past weekend, and we're going to look forward to the Super Regional matchup. So we are excited about all that. Today, we're thankful for all of our sponsors that make this podcast possible. So Clemson just played the regional matchup. They went 3-0, and they did everything they needed to do to win, including this amazing play.
You want to deaden the ball, force that third baseman to come in. Blake Wright, nice job. In the indecision, you got to go. Nice play on the run. Here goes Coastal Carolina, though, playing some beautiful baseball. Get him on, get him over. Now Sebastian Alexander up in the lineup right now to get him in.
We just had a hidden ball trick, and Mijos just got tagged out at third base. Are you kidding me? Did that really just happen?
Never seen it live. I had no idea. Wow.
There's the handoff. Mijos standing on the bag at third. Blake Wright's got the ball in his glove. You can see it in the web. He casually walks over, and watch as soon as Mijos takes off down the line. Watch what happens. Got him.
Clemson did everything they had to do to win, including that amazing hitting ball trick. Man, that was so much fun to watch. That was a thing of beauty, absolute thing of beauty. We loved being able to watch that. But Clemson, that was just one thing. They did everything they needed to do in order to win. Over the weekend, we played 3 games. Our first was a good matchup against High Point University, much closer than we'd like it to be. And then we played 2 games straight against Coastal Carolina based on how the tournament fell. Never got to play Vanderbilt. I know South Carolina is so bummed about that. But no, it was a great weekend. We're just going to go through and recap all 3 of those games. So that first game against High Point, against the Panthers, man, that was an exciting game. It ended in the 9th inning. It was 3-3 for a long time. Bottom of the ninth, Tristan Becerra came up with a walk-off single to have us win 4-3 in that game. Brought our total record at that point to 42-14. Cam Cannarella was on point. He was absolutely fire this whole thing. He had a 2-out single that scored the game's first run in the 3rd inning. Jaron Purify also had a beautiful game. Squeeze bunt, brought home a run in the 4th to make it 2-2. 6th inning, Panthers took the lead with an RBI, with a single that happened, and then Clemson tied it up right after that. And then 9th inning came, started off hot in the top of the 9th, got them out, didn't allow a run. Blake Wright led off for Clemson in the bottom of the 9th, had a double to start it. Cam Cannarella was walked, then there was an out, and then Becerra came up, hit a single to right center, scored right from second base. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It was so amazing. Austin Gordon was the winning pitcher. He only pitched 3 batters, but he did amazing. He retired all 3 batters he faced in the 9th. Tristan Smith was the starter. He did really well. He pitched 5 in the third innings, just 1 run, no walks, and had 9 strikeouts. A total of 16 outs, 9 strikeouts. You'll take that anytime, any day of the week. So it was a great way to start off the tournament, great way to start it off. That's how Clemson won Game 1. Game 2, we went up and we played Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, who came up. And that was a good game as well. This one won again with a winning run scored in the 9th. We were the away team this time. So this was winning scored in the top of the 9th, and we got the save in the bottom. Cannarella had that sac fly in the 9th inning that scored the go-ahead run. Again, started off hot, started off great. The scoring breakdown, Blake Wright hit a sac fly in the first to bring in the first run. And then the bottom of the third, Cannarella hit a sac fly as well. And so that got 2-0. And then Sam Anatoshi belted it. He had a solo home run for the Coastal in the third. And then in the 6th, Barthel squeeze bunt brought in another run to make it 2-2. Later on, Cannarella grounded in 2-out single, but he scored the go-ahead run in the top of the 7th. And then there was a lead-off in the bottom of the 7th with a home run from Coastal Carolina. 8th inning, nobody scored. Top of the 9th, Cannarella hit another RBI to get that go-ahead run in the top of the 9th, producing an opportunity. The story for this one was Jacob Hinderleider. Jacob Hinderleider went 5 for 5 in this game. Crazy. So crazy. And Hinderleider, honestly, he's been a utility player. Andrew Truffaut was our starting shortstop for the most part of the year. He went down for an injury, and they shifted Hinderleider over to shortstop to take his role, and he has been nothing but fire. He's been excellent. He went 5 for 5. Only the 5th Tiger in history for Clemson to do that in the NCAA tournament, and the first since 2002 when Khalil Green did it. So he was excellent. Overall, Jacob McGovern earned the win. Austin Gordon did pitch in the 9th inning to record his 10th save, so he pitched back-to-back games, and then Cameron Fluke got the loss. So that was a big win, right? Another 9th inning, another late comeback. Clemson is known for those. We're known for those bottom 3 innings, those producing runs late, comeback victories, scoring runs when it matters. So they pulled it through there. Great pitching, great hitting performance. And then Coastal went on. They won against in the winners bracket, whatever you call that game on Sunday afternoon or early afternoon, where they got to play, and they played then, and they won that game. So they got to play Clemson in the last game on Sunday. On Sunday, they got to play the Clemson again, so we played Coastal again, and this one was a little bit more. This one got a little worrisome, even though it was the biggest scoring one. Clemson, this is what's crazy. Clemson scored a run in each of the first 5 innings to pull away, to have 6-run lead, and they had 6 runs going into the 8th inning. But the Tigers scored 2 runs in the first when on Blake Wright had a scoring single, RBI single, and then Jimmy Obertop had an RBI fielder's choice. Coastal responded with a run in the top of the 2nd. And then later on, Clemson scored again in the bottom of the 2nd. Obertop hit a home run in the 3rd. Jacob Hinderleider hit a 2-out single in the 4th. And then so we're up 5-1. Sam Anatoshi, who also scored earlier on in the other game, he had a 2-out single to score a run on top of the 5th. And then again, Clemson scored in the bottom of the 5th with Nolan Narakis. He had a bases loaded, got a walk, scored a run there. And then the top of the 8th inning, Caden Bodine hit a 2-run bomb, and then right after that, very next batter, Derek Bender hit a solo bomb to bring that lead back to 6-5. So it was 6-2 going into the inning, and then unfortunately gave up 2 home runs late in the 8th to make it 6-5. So it comes up in the bottom of the 8th, and it's a 1-run game. If we hold it, we still got a 1-run lead going into the top of the 9th, so you're comfortable with that, but you'd always like a little bit more, and Clemson's bats came alive. Cam Cannarella led it off with a home run, 10th of the season. Then later on, Jack Crichton grounded into a run-scoring single. Then Mathis and Hinderleider both hit 2-run doubles. So huge bat, scored 6 runs in that bottom of the 8th. Reed Garris came out, or pitched a great inning. He had pitched a great game, had 3 innings. Austin Gordon came back in to get another save, 1.1 innings. So Austin Gordon had 2 saves and a win, pitching a total of 3.1 innings. It was great. Great one. A great game. Overall, great series. We're going to take a quick ad break, and when we come back, we are going to come back and we're going to talk about some specific player performances over this entire regional matchup. So we'll be back in just a minute. We're so thankful for our sponsors, and one of those is LinkedIn. When you're hiring for small businesses, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It also helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to a perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within the 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. I've used LinkedIn on both as an employer and an employee looking for a job. In both places, it was so simple and easy to use, producing results. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/LOCKEDONCOLLEGE to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And here we are on the Locked On Clemson podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. So overall, Clemson played really well. We scored runs. Our pitchers played well. It was a great series. What's interesting, though, is when you look at it and we look at truly the player performances, man, when you look at the Clemson Regional All-Tournament team, when it looks down the best players at each position for the region, Clemson had, they tied with the most amount of people on that list. Clemson had 5. Coastal Carolina had 5. Vanderbilt had 1. High Point didn't get any. Sorry, High Point. But, man, what an excellent showing. So, overall, we'll go through this list. Caden Bodine from Coastal Carolina, going to be an MLB catcher. He was a catcher from Coastal, got the catcher spot. Jack Crichton, first baseman, all-regional, all-tournament team for Clemson. Second baseman was Blake Barthel from Coastal. Shortstop, no surprise, Jacob Hinderleider. Excellent player. We'll talk about him more in a second. Third base was Sam Anatoshi, which makes sense. He had 2 bombs against us, played well from Coastal. Outfield, we had 2 of 3 outfields with Cam Cannarella and Tristan Becerra. The other outfielder was Matthew Polk from Vanderbilt. The designated hitter or utility player was Derek Bender from Coastal. One of the pitchers was Harry Wegner from Coastal, and then a pitcher from us was Tristan Smith. Overall, Clemson had a lot of progress. They had a lot of progression in this time. Some of the ones specific performances I want to talk about specifically are 3 different players. Number 1 is Purify. Purify is a second baseman. He's a rookie for Clemson. He didn't have a statistical great series. I mean, he had a solid series all around, but he didn't have one that was going to light up the stats or anything like that. But he had an excellent series. He made some great defensive plays, including a couple sliding stops at second, made a great play to get an out, preventing a run a couple times. Defensively, he was sound. Clemson wouldn't have been in this. We might have lost if it wasn't for his defensive performance. So his defense was there. He also had some great offense, had a good squeeze play, reached base, had a couple singles. He had an excellent series. So we're highlighting him. He gets our 1-star. We're doing the hockey thing. You give a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. Well, Jaron Purify, he gets our 1-star. Our 2-star player is our Cam Cannarella. Man, this guy's electric. This is someone that when the runs, we need runs. When it's go time of the game, when it's the most important out, runners on base, we need a run. We want Cam Cannarella up to bat. You know, in almost every single RBI chance he had this series, he produced an RBI. I think he only missed 1. Only 1 or 2 of the entire opportunities he had over 3 games to have an RBI, he produced an RBI. That is crazy. He's productive. That's why he's in the 4th spot. He started off at the 1, and Coach Bakich was like, no, I need you at the 4 to bring in those guys that are getting on base. So he moved down to the 4, and he has been excellent for us. Not a lot of bombs, only hit 10 on the season, but he's producing RBIs. He's getting on base. He's got high average. He's running, and he's making great plays in the outfield too. So Cam Cannarella gets our 2-star. Next up is Jacob Hinderleider. Man, what a player. We all know he's great. We all know he's excellent. But when you were asked who would be the MVP of this tournament, you're probably thinking Alden Mathis, Blake Wright, Jacob Hinderleider. Or Jacob Hinderleider's not a name you're probably mentioning, right? Cam Cannarella goes above them. But the MVP of the Clemson Regional, according to Division I Baseball that gave the award out, was Jacob Hinderleider. This player, he is something special. What a great transfer we got from him when he came in over, and now he's at Clemson first year here. He's playing excellent. He's played a couple different positions, but he's been locked into that shortstop since Chufo got hurt, and he had an excellent tournament. I mean, just an excellent showing. He went 5 for 5 in game 2. Game 3, he had a double, had a couple other runs. Game 1, he had some progression. He played excellent. This series wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't for him. So that's our 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. Some other performances that we want to talk about. Alden Mathis had a little bit quieter one. I think it wasn't until game 3 when he got his first hit. He reached and he got hit by a pitch 4 different times, got walked 2 more, had 5 runs on 6 total, and getting on base 6 times before that hit. But he didn't get any hits in any other plate appearance until that third game. Late in the third game, he got his first hit, a little single up the middle, grounder. So he was quieter. You want a little bit more progression, but what are you going to say? He's a leadoff, and he got on base 4 times from getting hit by a pitch and 2 more walks. So can't complain too much, but we did expect a little bit more from his bat. Blake Wright also wanted some more from his bat. He had some great defensive plays, like the hidden ball trick. He had some great defensive plays. But it was a little worrisome. His bat wasn't there. Didn't have a lot of run progression. Didn't have a lot of RBIs. Didn't scoot a lot. But we won the regional. We're being nitpicky at this point. He did excellent. But overall, the team played well. But we worried about those two. On the pitcher side, I want to talk about a couple different players. One. Gosh, the pitcher that used to be a catcher now is a pitcher for Clemson, big guy, man, he is excellent. He throws heat. He put in some work. He gave up 2 bombs late in the third game against Coastal, but he was in there for a while. They left him in because he was striking people out, mowing people down. But he played excellent. Really excited about his performance. Really excited about what he did. Aiden Canuck had a good game. Only gave up a couple runs. Pitched kind of late into the game. Excited about his progression. He pitched in game 2 of the series against Coastal. Started that game. I think he went 5 and a third innings, 2 runs maybe. But he played well. Excited to see him go well. Overall, when we were looking about this, we were worried about a couple things, but overall, Clemson played well. We're going to dive into more of Clemson overall in a second. But, yeah, to walk away with 5 people from Clemson making that regional all-tournament team, as well as the MVP coming away, and a couple of those were unanimous decisions. There was only 2 unanimous decisions for the regional all-tournament team, and both came from Clemson. Jacob Hinderleider was unanimous decision. Cam Cannarella was unanimous decision. No other selection on that all-regional team was a unanimous decision. Only those 2 were. So not only am I saying it, baseball's saying it. Like the people that are in charge of Division I baseball tournament, NCAA is saying that these teams, these players, Clemson had a special regional run, and honestly, it was almost perfect. You can't ask much more from what they saw. We saw them progress. We saw them make the right decisions. We saw them do what they need to do. They capitalized on the errors that was made. They pitched well. They didn't allow more than 3, or they allowed 5 runs one game, 3 the other 2. So combined 11 runs in 3 games. That's averaging just a little bit more than 3 runs a game. You're excited about that. You're good with that. Or it's almost 4 runs a game, but it's like 3.6 runs a game. You're excited about that. You're okay with that. You will give that up any day of the week. So excited about that. I think that's something to be excited about. Well, if you have been listening, past couple episodes, our Monday Momentums and our Wednesday Worried Wednesdays, a couple of those have been worried about Clemson. Clemson not having good momentum to end the season. Overall, worried about Clemson's progression. They've answered some of those questions, so hopefully they can take that into the Super Regionals. We're going to take one more quick ad break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking about the Super Regional forecast as we head in, and the Super Regionals come back to Clemson for the first time. So we'll talk about that and so much more in just a second.
Guess what, guys? It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Guess what? The NBA playoffs are here. Anthony Edwards is absolutely killing it. And plus, if you're into the NHL, we got some slap shots you could bet on. The Carolina Hurricanes are in the second round right now. So I need you to go to that bad boy and check it out. Because here's what new customers can get. $150. Yes, you heard that correctly. $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Let me repeat that. $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. And I'm telling you, you can bet on anything from the spreads, the money lines, player props, and much, much more. I'm telling you, $150, oh my God, you can win some money. All you got to do is pay attention and go to FanDuel.com/locked on. The website is FanDuel.com/locked Locked On, LOCKEDON, and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook.
Here we are on the Locked On Clemson podcast. My name is John Bivens. I'm your host. Hey, as we dive in, before we jump to the Super Regionals, I just want to capitalize and really focus in on this. Clemson's momentum, leaving the regionals, going into the Super Regionals where they're hosting, where they're bringing our Super Regionals back into Clemson for the first time since 2010. They get to host it because they're a top 8 seed, highest ranked seed, higher ranked seed than the other opponent. So they are hosting the site. There's a lot of momentum here. Let me just tell you the couple stats from the regionals that prove this momentum's high. First, did you know in every single inning, overall, Clemson bats played in a total of 9 in the first. They played in 9 different innings in the first. They hit 9 times, hit 9 times in the second, so that's 18, and then hit 8 more in the third game. They didn't have to hit in the ninth because they were home team, had that lead. So they hit a total of 26 innings they batted. In those 26 innings, they had a runner on in 25 of them. I'm gonna let you process that, because that's not a stat you get to say a lot. That's not a stat that we get to highlight that is a lot of teams get to say. In playoff baseball, most clutch time, have to win or have to go home, and if you go home, you're already home, so that's even more embarrassing. You have 26 innings to hit the ball, 26 innings to score runs to keep your season alive, and what do? Every single inning except for one, they put a runner on the board. Powerful. Like that's what you need. That's what you've got to see. That's what's got to happen. Another one, Clemson is the best team in baseball statistically on comebacks. They score better coming back. They score better late. They score a lot of runs when it counts later in the game. We'd like to see that progression maybe spaced out a little bit more, or maybe included in the other season. Don't space it out. Instead, just get hot earlier on and in the middle. But in late games, you can never count this team out. I don't care how many runs we're down by, you cannot count this team out with our bats. Our bats are hitting, and the regionals proved momentum's high. They're swinging, they're connecting, they're doing what they need to do on the offensive side. So they're doing the ball, they're doing what they need to do. And the other thing that we're high on is our pitching is really well right now. Our pitching is going excellent right now. We talked about it earlier in this episode, a couple episodes back, where we talked about Clemson baseball, and we were worried about the pitching. It seemed like we were allowing those middle innings, or innings 4 to 6. They were allowing a lot of runs. Once our bullpen got in, they were giving up. If you're following Clemson baseball, or any kind of people that are tweeting about Clemson baseball over on X, you saw people are worried about our bullpen. That was the number one critique for this team. And the bullpen came in and played well. Our starters pitched well. We had people with high ERAs lowering that over the season, lowering that over this regional tournament, because they pitched when it counted. They came in and they pitched really, really well. So we're excited to see that. We love to see that. Next up, we have to keep all this going into the Super Regionals. The Regionals format, in case you don't know, Regionals format is each team, there's 64 teams divided up into 16 locations. Those 4 teams play in a double elimination tournament. The team that is the surviving team that doesn't lose twice advances on to the Super Regionals. The Super Regionals are then paired off based on the bracket, and they play a best of 3 series at the higher seeds home location, at the higher seeds home field. So we are playing the winner. We are playing Florida. Florida won at the Oklahoma State Regional. Florida came in and they played well. They started off with a loss. Their second game, they put up 17 runs. That's a football score, right? Florida football, they could put up 17 points easily, right? You hear Florida 17, you're thinking football. You're not thinking baseball. They put up 17 runs in one inning. In one game, not in one inning. That'd be wild. But in one game, and then they went on and they had to play a very tough Oklahoma State, who was unbeaten on Sunday. They went up. They won that game. They were down early, and they came back and won that. The second game they went on, and they won that one again. So they had to win 2 clutch games against a tough Oklahoma State team, and they did it. So we got to watch out for them. Starting coming up this weekend, they haven't announced days yet. We don't know if for Friday or Saturday. But coming up this weekend, we've got to play Florida, and when we play them, we've got to keep this momentum going. In order to beat this Florida team who knows how to score, who knows how to win, We've got to be able to make sure our hitting stays on point, keep our bats alive, keep our bats hot. Jacob Hinderleider, go 5 for 5 again. Love to see it. Cannarella, keep getting those RBIs. We got to see that happening. We also have got to see our pitchers continuing to make the progress they are. Starters have got to eat up innings. 5 innings is a minimum for a starter in this series. Especially, we should have Tristan Smith up there. Probably have Aiden Knock up there. We'll have some good pitchers up there. They've got to play. They've got to come out and play. Our bullpen has got to come out and continue. Austin Gordon, love to see 2 more saves happening. Actually, I'd love to see just 2 good performances, not a save, because I hope we're up more than 3. But either way, our bullpen's got to be alive. Our bullpen, our pitching, our batters, all those have got to continue playing well, got to continue doing what they need to do, got to stay hot. Pitchers got to stop or keep not allowing runs, not allowing hits. So we are excited about that. Again, Super Regionals, best of 3 series. We play Florida this weekend. It's going to be a great series. We can't wait. There's a lot of electric regional matchups, a good amount of them. We can't wait for them. Some of the best regional matchups coming up. I obviously love this Clemson Florida matchup. 2 good teams they're facing off. Some of the best ones though is Georgia faces off against North Carolina State. That's going to be a good one. Georgia's got one of the best players in all of college baseball when it comes to hitting. Hey, best in a long time. Top 10 seasonal performance in history of the NCAA. So they've got them. NC State is also a team that's come alive. 2 top 15 teams facing off. You've also got 2 top 7 teams with Kentucky facing off against Oregon State. So that's going to be a good matchup. One that probably, I'm predicting this, a snooze matchup that's going to happen. Probably going to be Tennessee is playing Evansville. If Tennessee loses that, man, I'm going to be so happy. I can't stand Tennessee. I'm going to be so happy. Sorry to my wife, Taylor. She's a big UT fan. I apologize, but we'll see. But, yeah, so that's going to be a good one. But overall, I think those 3 super regionals, if you got to pick a couple to watch Kentucky, Oregon State, watch Georgia, NC State, and, of course, watch Clemson, Florida, because it's going to be fun. This is going to be a fun super regional. Make sure you're watching that. It's going to be electric. But with all that being said, that is going to wrap up this edition of the Locked On Clemson podcast. Later this week, we're going to dive in some football content. We're also going to give some predictions on the Super Regional, dive into Florida's game, who's their best players, who's their stars, all that kind of stuff, and so much more. But let me know your thoughts on the day. Drop a comment, drop an email, drop a tweet. Let us know your thoughts. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear feedback on all we talked about. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. That way, every single day, we can be your first listen here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. We can't wait to see you tomorrow in tomorrow's episode. But until then, keep that Tiger pride alive and roaring. And as always, go Tigers.